up on me. Don't give up on me. Don't give up.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Darin Nakakihara and I am a 4th grade teacher in Southern California. This channel is all about the art of teaching. So if that's something you might be interested in, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. Hey guys, how was your week? I want to hear all about it. First week back from vacation, I was a little worried. I don't know about you, but I was a little worried that this week was going to drag after being on vacation for a week. But I have to say, it went by really quick. How was your week? So this week we rolled out division. And for any 4th grade teacher, you know that division can be hit and miss depending on the skills that they learned in 3rd grade, because 3rd grade is the first time that they're introduced to division concepts. But they're working with these really small numbers like, 12 divided by 3. Then they get here, then they get here in 4th grade and we ramp it up and all of a sudden they're supposed to be doing like 3,224 divided by 8. And it's like, so if you left 3rd grade and you didn't have a good understanding of division, whoa, 4th grade is really hard. And so this week I started off with just a little 1-question pre-assessment. And these are some of the answers that I got. So I'm looking at these things and I'm like, okay, I got some kids on the one hand that really understand division, and then I got some kids on the other hand that have no clue how to even approach this thing. So at that point, I had to reassess how I was going to approach this division unit, going forward. So what I did was I went back to 3rd grade and I'm like, hey, how did you guys teach division in 3rd grade? And I borrowed some of the TEs and I went through some of the problems that they were doing and how they were approaching it. And it's really for them, it's really simplistic, basic. You get equal groups and you're taking this amount and you're putting them into these equal groups. And I'm like, okay, I can work with that. So what I was trying to focus on this week was taking those groups, because they just have a 1-digit divisor, taking those groups and using more friendlier numbers, more efficient numbers inside of those groups. So instead of counting by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, and trying to get up to, 124, I'm like, what other number could we use that would maybe make it a little easier for us? Well, we can count by tens. Perfect. Let's count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. And so, well, we could count by 20s. Okay, let's count by 20s. 20, 40, right? So that's what I was trying to make a connection between what they were doing in 3rd grade and what we can do in 4th grade. So at the end of the week, I gave them another 1-question formative assessment to see if we made any progress this week. And so this is some of the work that I got from those same students that I showed you a second ago. That is like the magic for a teacher, right? When you get to see learning happening, you get to see a kid go from not having any clue to now being able to formulate some kind of understanding of what they're trying to do. That is the magic, guys. That is why we do what we do. We get to actually see a human being go from one to another. Like, that's learning. We love that. And so I want to kind of transition this into a little talk about grades. Yes, I'm talking about grades. What am I talking about? Grades? Yes, grading. How do you guys grade? Because I'm so curious to hear how other parts of the world are grading. On the one hand, we are here and on the one hand, we're put to the task to take these students on the one hand, we have these standards, right? And we're supposed to take our kids to mastery of these standards by the end of the year. On the other hand, we have letter grades, and how those two commingle is curious, right? Because what do you do with a kid, for instance, that fails at the beginning of a unit, like this week with my formative assessment, is failing. All of a sudden they're learning it, and then they get AAA. So FFF and AAA. Are you going to give that kid a C? Or are you going to give that kid an A? Because at the end of the unit, they mastered what you were trying to teach them. There's a big debate going on here in my own district about that and how we can approach this learning continuum in a fair and equitable way that would reward these kids for coming through that spectrum of learning. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious, like, what do you guys do for that? Because here in my district, they don't give letter grades in kindergarten, first, second, and third grade. They just give them an assessment of learning based on those standards. So are they on track towards these standards? Yes. And so in fourth grade, it's the first time that we have to give out letter grades. And I just finished up with the first trimester grades. They got released earlier this week. And so I'm interested what you guys are doing in your part of the world. Do you guys have some kind of system in place to address this standards-based learning that we're in the middle of? Okay, so in order for me to personally to track a student's progress, I've developed this spreadsheet that tracks a student as they move across towards mastery of each learning target. So let me share this with you, okay? Okay, so here is my little tracker that I created so that I can keep track of a student's growth for every single standard that I am supposed to be teaching these kids. As you can see from the bottom, I have the different subjects, and we'll talk about math real quick. Those two assessments that I gave on division are right here, and you can see the first one that I gave on Monday is filled with red and orange. Just a lot of people that didn't understand division. But if you look at just in a week's time, how this thing has changed colors. It went from red to green. Look at all those greens on the second time that I gave it a division assessment. So wonderful, you guys. And I want you to know that just giving them one problem on a little half sheet can give you so much information, and it's so easy to grade and input into your little tracker here. It's so cool for the kids to be able to say, wow, look at how good I've gotten at this thing. And I want to share it with the parents too. So this is a work in progress. I just made this last week, so that's why there's only a couple of things inside of here. But it's something that I've been tinkering around with for years, and I think I'm onto something here. How do you guys do it where you work? I am so interested in finding out if there is another way that I could do this that would be even better. So this is just a spreadsheet that has some conditional formatting on it, but I have like really big dreams and aspirations and ideas for this thing so that I can turn it into something really spectacular that I could share with the parents, I could share with the kids, and they can, take ownership over their own learning, because how awesome would that be? You know what I'm saying? What do you guys do? I love to hear all the things that you guys are doing. Standards-based grades? I could see it coming. All right, so something else I wanted to show you guys was the progress that the kids were making on that social studies hyper jig thing that I made up. Check this thing out. Okay, you guys, so check out this. This is the social studies hyper jig that I created. Here they watched a little video and answered a couple of questions here. Oh, so interesting. Look at that. And then here are the instructions for the project. here are the standards. And let's see, here is a picture. Can you see that? Oh, wait, come back here. Here is a photo of her tree map. And then here is her hyperdoc. Interesting. My lesson is mostly about the Kuhila native tribe, and then has a picture of the tribe, and oh, it's a little video attached that talks about Native Americans. Interesting. The Kuhila hunted the antelope and other small animals. Interesting. They did this in the Mojave Desert. They've been around since 18 AD in California. Wow, interesting. And this lesson is important because it tells about the early native of Californian Indians. This is fantastic! I am so happy about this. So, ladies and gentlemen, she took this and then she pasted this into the master copy. Okay, so here is the master copy. And everybody's hyperjig that was placed inside of here. So cool. Okay, guys. So the kids are going to break out into 3 different groups, and each group is going to have somebody from each standard. They're going to pull up their slide right here, and they're going to teach their group about their standard using their hyperdoc that they made. I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. After that, we're going to test them and see if they learned about all the other things. So, cross your fingers, but so far this project is turning out pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. So, I talked about this in a previous video. If you're interested in doing something like this, let me know and I'll get you all of the materials that you will need. How cool is that? Like, it's turning out so good. I can't wait to see if it actually works, because I was reading some research somewhere that one of the best ways for kids to learn something is through a jigsaw activity, and it really works. So doing it through, adding a little flavor to it with a hyperdoc and having them go through the jigsaw using their hyperdoc, I think is going to be so interesting. I can't wait to see if it actually works. So there you have it, guys. We had a wonderful week of learning. Wonderful week of learning. I hope that you guys had a great week too, and your kids had a great week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you taking the time to learn about standards-based grades, because I know that is just so interesting. No, really, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. If you are new to this channel, please hit that like and subscribe. If you are a returning viewer, thank you very much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful weekend and a great week next week, guys. I will talk to you next weekend. Have a wonderful day. See you later.